Meghan Markle surprised us all with a secret episode drop from her podcast 1 week after the first season was supposed to have ended. Now, Meghan appeared on the latest episode with none other than Tina Knowles, aka Beyonce's mother. And let me tell you, this woman knows a thing or two about managing a business / an internationally famous pop star. Now, Meghan talked all about her own experiences with her fledgling business as ever, and she opened up about one of the hardest parts of being a working mother, namely that she struggles to find balance between her responsibilities at home as a mother and wife and her duties as the CEO and founder of a burgeoning lifestyle brand. However, don't worry, she has Prince Harry on hand to help her, and somehow, in between churning out a jar of jam every 6 months, going to Beyonce concerts, posting Instagram pictures of her kids in the garden, Meghan and Harry are still finding time to go out on date nights, which I think is very impressive. Meghan did talk about going to the Beyonce concert with Harry. You won't have forgotten the hat he wore. And she said that they had a great time. Now, Beyonce is a killer performer. Meghan and Harry looked like they were having an absolutely brilliant night out. Harry was getting a right bead on, dancing to some of Beyonce's greatest hits. And of course, it provided Meghan with the perfect opportunity to connect with her podcast guest, Tina. Meghan also spoke about another issue that she had while she was launching her business as ever, namely that she had no idea just how quickly the products were going to sell out. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Meghan released a limited line of kitchen products that included raspberry jam or spread. She's not allowed to call it jam because it doesn't meet the criteria. Some flour sprinkles that you can put on, according to Meghan, anything, including an omelette. And then she also had some cookie mix and honeycomb honey. Now, the release sold out within minutes, 45 minutes, according to Meghan. However, she is now claiming that she and her team believed that those products were going to last months, if not a year. So, if you're wondering why the As Ever products have not been restocked, that's exactly why. Meghan and her team simply did not realize how much demand there were going to be for some raspberry spread and a keepsake box, and they basically don't have any product left to offer people. So, Meghan revealed that they've taken a pause on releasing any new products while they work out their inventory issues to make sure, and I quote, "You're not just getting that jam once every 6 months, you can have it on your shelves forever." Even though Meghan is suffering from a few hiccups with the launch of her brand As Ever, she is already looking ahead to possible new business ventures with a very intriguing partner, her daughter Lilibet. Now, Lily isn't quite old enough yet to be launching her own company, except, if she's planning to become a child influencer on YouTube. But that hasn't stopped Meghan from looking far into the future to a day when the two of them may team up together. And who better to ask for advice on such a subject than Tina, who has managed her daughter's music career for much of her life. Now, Tina was full of sage advice, namely that if you are going to work with a child, you have to expect that the two of you will get into arguments. Tina did admit that when it comes to those arguments, Beyonce is usually the victor, namely because it's Beyonce's name and Beyonce's business. But that means that Meghan has to kind of get prepared to maybe have a few tussles with Lilibet in the future. Meghan didn't give any information away about what kind of business she would launch with Lilibet, and she's kept her children so private that little is known about what Lilibet's interests are, save for the fact that she loves spending time with her mother in the garden of their $14.65 million Montecito home. So, maybe Lilibet will launch her own line of beehives from which Meghan can get honey for her As Ever brand. Who knows? The world is their oyster, and provided Meghan's willing to bend over to Lilibet's arguments in the future, maybe they'll make a good success out of it. We have to give props to Meghan because she really did go out with a bang here. Tina is by far the most famous face that Meghan has managed to secure for the first season of her Lemonada Media podcast, which is called Confessions of a Female Founder. Interestingly, though, we don't yet know what the future of the podcast is. For those of you who tuned into or tried to ignore Meghan's first podcast attempt, Archetypes, which was streamed on Spotify, you'll know that that only lasted 1 season after Spotify decided to pull the plug because it simply wasn't getting enough views or listens. Now, this time around, Meghan isn't really videoing her podcasts, and it's just an audio presentation. Still, it remains to be seen whether or not she's going to make it across the line for a second season. But don't worry, if you were looking for more Meghan, she will have a second season of her, I don't really want to say hit, but controversial Netflix series with Love Meghan, although once again, a premiere date has yet to be revealed. Still, Meghan is actually serving as fodder for other podcast interviews, namely a podcast appearance that was done by actress Brooke Shields, during which she accused Meghan of being, and I quote, too precious during a South by Southwest panel with Katie Couric. Brooke basically talked about her reasons for interrupting Meghan live on stage while they were talking about female empowerment. She explained that Meghan began telling a story that we've all heard a number of times now about writing a letter to a company when she was younger, 11 to be specific, because she had seen a soap commercial in which it referred to women as being the only people who washed dishes. Now, Brooke recalled Meghan telling this story on the stage and effectively said that Meghan wasn't really reading the room. She said that the panel wasn't supposed to be quite so serious, that it wasn't supposed to get into such granular detail, and effectively the audience didn't want to sit there for 45 minutes listening to Meghan talk about soap. So Brooke confessed that she interrupted Meghan in a bid to make things a little bit more lighthearted. However, it's unclear how exactly that went over with Meghan.